Hi, class. Um, this has been a really, really enjoyable class, and I just want to start out by saying it's been fun reading your guys' posts, and I really appreciate all the responses that you guys have given me on some of the stuff that I've been putting out there. So I hope I'm in some classes with you guys going forward. Um, my off-field moment that I chose, I chose two. One, we went to Guatemala on a mission trip when it was back in 2010, so it was 12 or so years ago, but I didn't realize how much of an effect going to another culture would have on the way that I saw um, my own reality. I mean, how that kind of put so much of my life in perspective, seeing how people that had nothing lived. And so we went to the mission trip to provide dental care to um, some of the natives there that lived kind of on the outskirts of the city. And what just really amazed me was how great their capacity for joy was. They were never, I never saw, my job was to entertain the kids for the whole time. We were there 4 days. And my job was to entertain kids, and apart from their soccer skills, which were just unbelievable. They were always joyful and appreciative of everything we were there for. I mean, were getting root canals and getting their teeth extracted, and they had nothing to do but thank us all the time. And that just absolutely blew me away. There was never any bitterness or anger or greed. I just never saw that in that culture. And so the Guatemalans, to me, were really a moment that I had so much awe of what kind of the amount of joy they could have from, and they had nothing. They lived in mud huts, and it was really impactful for me. The other thing that we went to Zion National Park last summer, and I feel like the more of a macro view you can see of creation, the further back you can step and see out um, over more of the landscape, the easier it is to be in awe of um, of the wild, of the way that God's created the world. And um, it makes you feel small when you can see so much at one time. It also makes you feel like God has to be real, and he has to be big, and he has to be in charge, and he has to be an artist, because how else could the world that we live in be so beautiful um, without him just having a really big artistic part of who he is. And it's inspiring too to think that because we're made in his image, that we have that gift of creation also, which kind of leads me to this class and what it's meant to me. I would have never tried poetry before, um, and writing stories and writing to me was basically to get uh, something out of it. Like I wanted to get a good grade so that I could move on and get my degree and keep moving towards the psychology stuff that I want to do in helping people. But writing was always just so that I could uh, get the grade that I needed to move on. But this class has really taught me that it's fun. It can be really enjoyable, and I feel like a different part of my brain is activated when I'm writing poetry or when I'm writing creatively and I'm trying to make a story that's going to be interesting and mean something to somebody. So all that is to say, um, I feel like I've kind of developed, and just since this class, kind of a new love for short stories. Um, I've kind of changed my podcast listening from science podcasts to some more fiction based uh, podcasts that are short stories. There's 4 or 5 short stories in a half an hour period, and I listen to a few a day, and it's just really fun to see. I hadn't thought about how many stories there are all day, every day, and how much poetry there is out there as we're just living our normal lives. And that's what this class has been helpful for me in. Um, and I'm kind of actually excited. The more I get into it, the more I think I would really like to try writing some fictional short stories, or even some stories that have some reality base to it, that have to do with maybe experiences that I've gone through. but I just really love the cleverness and the ways that you, especially for the short stories, and how you have to um, figure out ways to tie everything together in a short amount of time. I'm really looking forward to trying my hand at that. So maybe going forward, instead of spending the last half an hour of my time that I have to myself um, watching Netflix or some rerun, maybe I'll try writing and rewriting and editing and working on some short stories of my own. So, anyways, um, thank you, Professor, and thank you, classmates. It's been really enjoyable, and I wish everybody the best of luck.